So often in a song, there's more to a character than you have room to discuss, and the reader, the listener, whoever is left to imagine the story behind the character they briefly met. We talked about this earlier. It's a moment of exquisite imagining that we will now wreck. We're going to ask these two creative minds to give us the stories we never knew behind characters we've barely met, some friends of ours from popular song. Fill us in with the rest of the story, if you could. And Neil, we'll start with you, and we'll open this. We couldn't decide between these two characters, so we figured we'd leave it up to you. Major Tom from David Bowie, or his Elton John corollary, Rocket Man.
Ah, yes. I think it's going to be a long, long time, gentlemen.
Yes.
Yeah, oddly enough, not a lot of people know that actually Rocket Man and Major Tom were the same person.
Really?
Yeah, it's one of those weird things because it was the same bloke. I mean, first of all, he went, I think it's going to be a long time, going to go up there. Mars is not a good place to raise a kid. Nipped up,
Yeah.
went out, went on his little spacewalk. Then you heard that little vibraphone thing going.
Right.
Yeah, and then he got did what the song ends, of course, around there, and he's drifting off, and something weird is happening, and everyone's saying, "Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you hear me, Major Tom? Can you hear me, Major Tom?" It ends before he says, "Yeah, I can hear you fine. I'll be back in 5."
So he turns out okay.
It was terrible, actually. Yeah, he came down. He did chat show circuits for a while. These days, mostly what Major Tom, for a little while there, of course, he was a junkie. That was very unfortunate. But these days, mostly what he does is late night television pitches.
Oh.
Do you know me? I'm Major Tom. Can you hear me, everybody?
I've gone 100,000 miles.
Exactly. And yeah, that's what happened to Major Tom.
Good to know.
You can see him at 2 o'clock in the morning on the television, selling you things that you can only get on the television at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Well, Josh Ritter, let's switch over to you then. Fill us in on the rest of the story behind Allison from the Elvis Costello song.
Well, I travel a lot and I play a lot in Ireland, and one of the things that I've always loved after, they have a thing called a lock in which you go and you play music until like midnight or 1 o'clock when they shut down the pub and then they close, and then you keep on playing and you keep on drinking. And then around 4 in the morning, you get out the archery set and you find volunteers, and there's never any problem. Everybody wants to, to put the apple on their head. And Elvis Costello, is one of the greatest kind of 4 a.m. archers, and except for a few times, and
What you're trying to say is there was a time when his aim was not true.
yeah,
My aim is generally true.
Yep.
his confidence was great.
Okay, I guess she's afraid of the world that is killing her. Neil, let's visit the Beatles catalog with you. Fill us in on Eleanor Rigby.
Oddly enough, funny you should say that. I was actually expecting Eleanor Rigby to come up earlier in the Which Monster Is, because, of course, Eleanor Rigby, the one who, hung around graveyards, is best known for wearing a face that she kept in a jar by the door.
Sure.
And, for a long time, the papers of Liverpool, where the Beatles came from, was filled with these headlines about somebody who was killing people, cutting off their faces, keeping them in jars by the door. And they weren't ever able to figure out that the strange little old lady who hung around the churchyard wearing these weird, mushy faces, often covered with jam or honey, was actually the woman they called the face cutter offer.
I'm always impressed with the terms that the British come up with.
Yeah, we had Jack the Ripper,
Eleanor the face cutter offer.
the face cutter offer. It's like the Boston Strangler. She was the Liverpool face cutter offer.
Well, as long as we're talking about maybe along the same lines, then Josh Ritter, how about the man-eater from Hall & Oates?
Oh. Wow.
I understand she only comes out at night.
Well, you'd think so. Yeah. She also cuts a lot of people's hair, like pop singers, like Hall & Oates, and you can definitely tell if you look at pictures. I don't really know too much about the man-eater, because it's usually dark. But I do know that record, that song is on, I think it's on their first record, which is like called "Oh Dear God, Please Somebody Let Us Out of This Basement." There's a man-eater down here.
What were some other Hall & Oates songs on that particular album?
The beautiful song, "Arg, She's Got My Leg."
Oh, she's got my leg. All right.
"Who Needs Fingers" was
Right.
beautiful.
Oh God, not the furnace again. I'm kind of glad they branched out from that, actually.
There was,
God, I believe Morrissey helped them out on that.
His album "Murder Is Murder."
Neil, we'll stay with another British artist here, Rod Stewart. Maggie May.
Oh, yeah, that was unfortunate.
Unfortunate.
Well, our narrator in Maggie May, the one who's saying, "Wake up, Maggie, it's late September, I really have to be getting back to school." He was 11.
Oh.
And, truthfully, it ended in tears. It was...
Well, I have the lyrics here, and I wondered, if you could fill us in, because some of this gets a little Gaiman-esque. "You stole my heart, I couldn't leave you if I tried. You stole my soul, and that's a pain I can do without." Is there witchcraft involved here?
Well, there is. Anybody who knows anything at all about the career of Rod Stewart can see there is witchcraft involved. The amazing thing about Rod Stewart is after his heart was stolen and his soul was stolen when he was 11 by Maggie May, his hair has not aged a day.
Okay.
He's getting strange and wrinkly, but the hair is still the hair of a 20-year-old. And, there are people who say that at night it creeps off to suck the blood of people who've been shot in the head by Irishmen practicing archery in pubs.
I always thought that was just a story to tell the children. And finally, Josh, back to you. How about Jack and Diane?
Jack and Diane is a kind of a classic American love story that started way beyond, before we meet them out behind the Tasty Freeze. So there's Jack and Diane, who actually met at Camp Mellencamp.
You were a counselor there one time, weren't you, Josh?
I was. It was a good time. Yeah, those, a lot of paper and fire. And so yeah, they grew up in making lanyards and carving canoes and doing all that sorts of things. He initially went on to become a doctor, and she became a bartender on the show Cheers. So
Okay.
With Kelsey Grammer.
Wow. Well, gentlemen, thank you for allowing us to finally listen to songs the right way. Neil Gaiman and Josh Ritter, everyone.